Sup everyone, welcome to another video. And I know you guys see the title, I know you guys see the thumbnail, but this is not what you guys think. All right, we are not talking about meta characters and whatever. That doesn't matter right now, because I'm here to prove to you today Sumeru likely will be a turning point one way or another, because it has to be. From a storytelling perspective, it has to be. And I'm going to be drawing examples today, both from Western and Eastern storytelling, from anime, TV shows, movies, from the classics, to show you guys how important Sumeru would be when it comes to Genshin storytelling. All right, the name is Walrus. You know, I don't usually talk about lore. However, with my background in screenplay writing and just my general interest for good storytelling, I want to share this with you guys so you guys can prepare and actually let your imaginations run wild when it comes to the possibilities of the Sumeru storyline. Okay, subscribe for daily Genshin content. And with that said, let's get into the video. So a lot of you guys might be wondering, well, Walrus, what are you talking about? Why are you so certain that Sumeru is going to be a cataclysmic story reveal? And the reason I'm making this video now is because a lot of people accuse me of looking at leaks, and I guess one way that I constantly combat against that argument is that I'm able to predict things 3 to 4 patches in advance. And usually I'm talking about character, meta, and just general game changes. But today I'm going to be delving into something that I'm almost never talking about, even though I'm very in tune with this aspect of Genshin. So up until this point, the story for Genshin has been exciting, to say the least. There has been a lot that's been revealed, and we're on course to something that just seems cataclysmic. I'm sure a lot of you guys have something that you want to share with others when it comes to theories and just general ideas of how the story will progress. And there are people who reads the manga, and there are people who are hardcore, just going into every single frame and analyzing the potentials and plot hints as well as potential Easter eggs. However, I can assure you there's a much easier way to somewhat predict what's going to happen in Sumeru. Now, you see, for most traditional stories, and I'm saying most, like 90% of stories, the midway point through the story is going to always introduce something important. It's often a key plot device, and when done right, will challenge the audience to the point where it sometimes flip you right 180 degrees on your head and turn sides. And I use that term very specifically. Here's an example for you. Look at the Star Wars movie franchise and the story narrative. What happened midway through the story? Now, I guess this is really up to you to decide what's the halfway through Star Wars, but if you're talking about the original trilogy or the grandiose of the storyline, let's just use the original example first. The original example could be really summed up in 4 words, and that is, I am your father, right? That's if you just look at the original 3 trilogies. But if you look at the grandiose storyline, the midway through the story is when Anakin switches sides. And I am telling you guys right now, I'm going to continue giving you guys examples, but I hope with a couple examples in, you guys start to understand where I'm going with this. Game of Thrones, another example. What happened midway through Game of Thrones? Season 4, Joffrey died. And what did Tyrion do? He switched sides. He went and left the mainland and joined Daenerys overseas. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling all these story plot points for you guys, but these shows are like really old by movie and film standards, right? So I hope you guys are catching my drift. Another one, Harry Potter. What happened midway through Harry Potter? Voldemort's true self was revealed for the first time, and as the doom and gloom set in, it laid the foundations for the story to progress and be elevated to the next level. Right now, it's the same for Genshin. The story, while it has been drastic, it has felt very important and world-bending and changing, it has yet to reach that next level. For a lack of better term, we have not really even seen the entirety of the board yet, let alone to understand what role each character plays in this grand story structure. And that's all going to change in Sumeru. Now, for some of you guys who are like, oh my god, Walrus, but you say you're going to give us some anime examples. Here is another example when it comes to anime. One Piece. What happened midway through One Piece? I know One Piece is not done, but I'm willing to say the halfway point through One Piece is roughly the Golden Archipelago arc. This is when the Straw Hats were utterly decimated by an opponent, and when they started to realize that they are not ready for the adventures ahead. This event single-handedly handed Luffy some of the biggest L's he likely will ever receive in the entire story. By the end of what was kickstarted by the Archipelago all the way up to the Marineford arc, which is what I consider the halfway point for One Piece, Luffy gets a reality check in that he is weak. He is disgustingly weak. In the face of overwhelming power, he does not come even close to standing against such a force of nature, which for the story, it's the Marines. It's the people who opposes his search for freedom. And for all great stories, the midway point serves as a tool for the writers to introduce something that gives not only purpose for the protagonist to continue, but also raises the stakes. You thought this is what we were fighting for? No. This is what we are fighting for. And when it comes to Sumeru, it for the most part is the halfway point for Genshin. If not, then it's going to be the leading up to the official halfway point. And this is why I say in Sumeru, I promise you guys, I am almost 100% certain that there will be an event or a reveal that is so drastic that there will be people likely even switching sides, betrayals, or such a jaw-dropping piece of information being revealed to us that really makes us question what our true motives are, what drives us, and which side are we truly on. Looking at it right now, our twin is actually working in direct opposition to us in the story. Now, currently, there are no signs or hints of brainwashing or some sort of body possession of any sort. So this is an active decision by our twin to work for, air quote, the enemies. Now, really think about that and let that marinate, because we also have to touch on the fact that Hoyoverse has dropped the entire roster almost of the Fatuis. And with that reveal, it laid the foundations using the death of La Signora, or Rosaline as they said in the teaser, as a catalyst for what is about to be revealed in Sumeru. People really hold on to your hats right now, because in the teaser they even said that checkmate in this game, or at least in this confrontation that they're talking about, is not going to be the end. So that could be a hint to an eventual reveal saying, you know, yes, we are trying to fight back against the gods, but simply slaying the gods will not be enough. And why is that? Also know that Zhongli from the story gave up his gnosis by a deal that he did strike up with La Signora. Now she's dead. However, was the message passed along? Is the power going to be served for greater good? And Zhongli being an archon of contrast, why now has he decided to go into hiding and abandon his celestial form, take a mortal body? A lot of these things have not been 100% fully answered, and I do think that in Sumeru we will arrive at somewhat of a conclusion, because it doesn't really make much sense right now why there is this underlying tension that is between the Archons and seemingly the Fatui. Some have shown that they're willing to cooperate, and others have shown that they will not waste a second to strike down the enemy, and in this case completely vaporize them. People, just take a look at some stories that you are more familiar with, and I guarantee you the midway point in the story oftentimes is something that either hooks you in far deeper than you ever could have thought into the franchise or the story, or something that makes you truly question what it is that is happening around you in the story. Once again, all good storytelling uses technique, or at least this structure, because if you do it any later, you simply don't have enough time to reveal all the plot points and the plot devices that you've set, especially for a long story with plot points that are already planted from the beginning that needs to be revealed at a certain date. And also it needs to be revealed oftentimes fast enough for the people who have been following through your story to still be interested in the answers, but at the same time, once something gets revealed, if it's not the end of the story, you have to continue pushing on new things. Kind of like how in Naruto, Orochimaru started off as like this really bad guy and villain, and it turned out that Orochimaru used to be part of the Hidden Leaf, then he betrayed them, and then Orochimaru now comes back for revenge, and then it turns out that he's been swapping bodies, and then it turns out that he's after Sasuke for his Uchiha bloodline. Then it turns out that he used to be in this organization which is now attacking Konoha and all the other villages for their tailed beasts, that Orochimaru was a part of them and he tried to attack Itachi but failed. That's why he's going after Sasuke. And then it turns out that his plan to take over Sasuke has failed, and then it turns out that now he's surprisingly a good guy after he supposedly have died a billion times at this point. And you guys see my point? Every time a question gets answered, a new question gets put in place, or a new plot point that pushes the story along gets introduced. It just keeps on going, and I just went down Orochimaru's storyline, but there are other characters in the story that follows a similar pattern, and it's the same for most successful stories. You'll see each and every point of progression in the form of a question and then an answer, another question and then another answer, and sometimes when it's done masterfully, there will be a conclusion seemingly, and then somewhere down the line something springs up which makes you jump back to the conclusion and question, was that really a conclusion? Back to the Orochimaru example. When Itachi sealed him in the sword, we all thought, oh, that's the end of Orochimaru, until it wasn't. Listen, I'm not making a comparison right now to La Signora, so La Signora mains, please sit your ass back down in your seats. I'm not saying that there's a chance she's coming back, because really, I don't know. I really honestly don't know how important La Signora will be when it comes to the future of Genshin Impact and its story narrative. Who knows? Maybe the Tsaritsa can revive dead people. I don't know. So all I'm saying here is that make a point in your journals to leave an eye out for things in Sumeru. Don't let any detail escape your scrutiny. Something big is about to happen, and I am here for the ride from the start to finish. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, press that like button, subscribe for more Genshin content. I upload every single day, and if I'm not uploading, I'm live streaming. So until next time, I urge you all to stay safe and peace.